So we were able to challenge them. We were able to tell them, look, you are the problem. Right? You better change your style, otherwise the problem is not with the team, problem is with you. Now, that is something we could do, which because of our seniority, they took us seriously.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So sometimes grey hair helps,
Hi everybody, this is Deepa Nagarajan and I bring to you the Growth Caliber podcast. Today I have a very special guest that I have invited to share great insights and inspirations both in the business and specifically in the entrepreneurial space. And we are going to be having a very candid, brutally honest and very insightful discussion about what it takes to build a successful business and what it means to be an entrepreneur. What are some of the challenges that family businesses and small and medium businesses face when they are in the growth and the scale stage, right? So let me introduce our guest. We have one of the most celebrated business mentors, executive coach, and leadership facilitator, Mr. Cherian Kuruvila. He comes with over 40 years of overall leadership experience. He has, for the last 13 years, been a business mentor, leadership mentor, executive and holistic personal coach, strategic leadership facilitator, a panel member, a speaker, and a writer, and you'll hear more about him from the horse's mouth. He's focused on changing the growth path of the mid to large family business and the SME sector entrepreneurs, solo entrepreneurs, and corporate leaders mid to CXO level. Let me share a little bit about his firm. He's the managing partner in his firm CNC Transcend Management Services since its inception in 2010. The firm has been recognized purely on merit among top 10 most admired outsourcing firms and 10 most recommended management and strategy consultants for medium to large enterprises. Based on their core offerings and excellent client feedbacks and the impact that they have been able to create. You can find more details about his firm on www.cnctms.com. We'll also leave the link in the description below. Cherian comes with around 30 years of hands-on, results and process-driven corporate CXO experience in sales, marketing and branding, P&L operations, retail, HR, large-scale project management, including leadership roles like executive director with Modi Xerox, where he spent 16 years from the startup stage and grew up in the ranks across 4 locations and 6 roles. He spent the next 7 years in the telecom domain as the CEO, Karnataka, with Bharti Airtel Broadband, and also as the Senior VP with Reliance Communications, both from the startup stage, both of these organizations from the startup stage. And finally, as the Director of Operations with a US-based Manpower Inc., focused on HR search, managing 8 industry verticals. We'll learn more about his experience and the contributions that he has made to the corporate world as well as the entrepreneurial space. So, welcome, Cherian. Thanks for making it to the show and great to have you here.
My pleasure.
And we really wanted to have you on the Growth Caliber podcast. I'm sure there'll be a lot of insights and learnings that we can get from you on how to grow and scale an organization.
Sure.
And this podcast actually focuses on that to help organizations understand what are those nuances of growth and scale and how they can, avoid some of these mistakes that happen, in that growth and scale phase, and what they can do to, course correct them and try even avoid making such mistakes, right? So it'll be great to hear from you. I know you were not keeping well, but you still made it to the show. Thank you so much.
Okay.
So there is so much actually in your profile. I was reading it and I shared some of the key highlights, but it would be great to hear from you a little more about your corporate experience and the entrepreneurial space. What made you make that shift from the corporate world to the entrepreneurial space and become a mentor, a sought after mentor and a coach. So how did that transition happen? What were those learnings from the corporate world that you wanted to bring? Why that shift?
Why the shift? Okay.
Yeah.
No, so like you mentioned, I think your introduction was way too generous. But I think the fact is that the experience just built up along the way. After my engineering, I just started off my career with sales, and that was very unlike me because I'm basically an introvert. In my college, I was the quietest guy in my class. Even today, 40 years later, when we meet, I'm the quietest guy in the batch. Right? So joining sales was very, unlike kind of a decision. Right? Normally, one would move into a technical kind of a line.
How was that decision? I mean, was it some campus recruitment, or was
no,
it
we
just
had to find. This is in the 80s. We had to find our own jobs.
Oh, okay, I see.
Right. So I started at Crompton Greaves as a marketing engineer, selling lights and fans. But I think that gave a lot of experience because I realized that to be successful in sales, you don't have to be very talkative. You have to talk sense.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
And build a good rapport with your stakeholders. Like in my case, initially I was dealing with dealers and distributors in Calcutta, right?
Okay.
Since I knew the local language, it made it much easier. So I think those first 2 years or 3 years in that organization gave me a lot of confidence that I could do well in sales. Right? It was a gamble that I took at that point of time. And then there was this company, Modi Xerox, which came up in '84, and they were looking for different kinds of levels, different kinds of roles. There was a position for an area sales manager with 5 to 7 years of experience, and I had 2.5 years of experience.
Okay.
But I applied for it.
Okay.
I said, "What? Worst case, I won't get that particular role, right?" But I got it. I got it. I got a role which was asking for double the experience, and that was a team leader role. I was an area sales manager. I'd never managed people. So I think
what was that key decision making point for the person who was hiring you? How did that happen? How did the decision happen? They must have seen something in you that said, "Okay, no, this person can."
Like I said, I was quiet, but I think maybe because of my 30 years of meditation. At that time, I didn't have 30 years of meditation. I just started meditation in college.
All right.
But there was a calmness which I had always, right? Which gave confidence to other person.
So that assurance, that confidence that you
quiet confidence, right?
Yes,
and
yes.
that this guy will do okay. Right? Maybe he doesn't have the relevant experience, but he'll pick up on the job.
Okay.
So I think that was a turning point. So if I had not taken that gamble again, so I think my career has been full of gambles. Right? If I had applied for one level lower, possibly my career would have gone in a totally different tangent, right? But because I aimed for something higher and got it, I did well. So I think that way, never sort of hesitated to take challenges. Never hesitated to take challenges. I said I'll figure it out along the way.
All right.
So I think that's been part of my DNA. That, don't think too much. Plunge in, figure it out, along the way.
Okay.
So the next role was a branch manager role where, out of 18 branches, that particular branch was number 18. They said, "Would you be interested in going there?" I said, "I'll take it, no problem."
Okay.
Right? And within 2 years, I made it number 1 location. So that was a turnaround kind of an experience of turning around a non-performing location into a performing location. Not only performing, the number 1 in the country. So I think my confidence kept building up along my career. That whatever role I get into, I'll figure it out. Right?
Sure.
I think that confidence kept building. I think that is what kept me going. So I was always willing to take gambles, try new roles, try new locations, move around with a lot of family support, of course. Moving around from location to location is not easy.
Yes, it's not easy.
So we moved from Calcutta to Cochin, from Cochin to Delhi, Delhi to Bangalore, Bangalore to Bombay, Bombay to Bangalore.
Wow,
right?
that's like all key locations in the country. Yes.
So wherever my career took me or wherever the opportunities came, which I felt were good, I just sort of took it.
Okay.
So that's been my career. So even whether it was a product management role or whether it was moving to telecom, which I knew nothing about.
Now, how did that shift happen from Modi Xerox, which is a product-focused organization, to telecom, which is services, broadband services, right?
Yeah.
So what was that shift all about?
Modi Xerox also was a services organization. Because, we were supplying the equipment, but the equipment was being used by multiple users. So,
right.
Customer experience was a very important part of the Modi Xerox portfolio as well. Right? But then I had 16 years of experience, and Modi Xerox is a very process-driven company. Process is very process-driven, policy-driven, good culture. I stayed there for 16 years. Many others have stayed there for 10, 15 years. So I think that was a place we all enjoyed and learned and grew. Right? So then telecom was a new opportunity which came up my way.
Okay.
And although I knew nothing about telecom, again, I didn't hesitate. I said, figure it out along the way.
Okay.
Right? Something that you can learn, right? Because the fundamentals of leadership are same.
True.
Fundamentals of whether you're in this industry or that industry. So I moved from consumer durables to Modi Rock's office automation, to telecom, to HR. Right? So over my 28 years of corporate life, I mean, I was not confined to one industry, one location, one kind of role. So I was never a specialist. I was a generalist.
Generalist.
Right.
Okay.
And I think that is the width of experiences that I think came in.
And I also probably, from what you say, I feel it's also the fact that you were execution focused, and that success that you were able to bring in your execution, the drive.
Yeah.
I think that's the key differentiator.
Very results focused. Very results focused. So I think I developed myself as a leader in all these roles. Right. So seen as a fairly respected leader, people looked up to me. I was tough, but not nasty. Right? I would get the work done.
Okay.
I would get the work done. I would delegate a lot. I would empower a lot.
Okay.
So a lot of my leadership learnings actually came from the corporate experience.
Okay.
How you can be effective without
having to be nasty.
Yeah, without having to be nasty or making life difficult for people. Carry them along. Take them along, build them, show them the big picture, excite them. And I think even today, 20 years after leaving corporate, many of the guys have very fond memories of their experiences here.
Okay, okay.
So I think that gave me a lot of confidence, right? And going back about 13 years back, 2010, I have a business partner based in Delhi, an ex-colleague of mine from Modi's Rocks.
From Modi's Rocks.
Yeah, but he was more finance and commercial background. Mine was more sales, marketing, operations, HR,
all right.
P&L. So
CNC is based out of Delhi?
CNC, yeah, it's registered in Delhi.
Okay.
CNC actually stands for Charian Cherian.
Oh, okay.
My partner's name is Chari. Chari and Cherian.
Chari and Cherian.
And
CNC.
CNC.
Okay.
We wanted to give our name to it.
Okay.
And we said, finally, we are the ones going to the market.
Okay. Right.
And we use the word transcend because while I practiced transcendental meditation for many years now. Nice. And transcend is all about going to the next level. It's all about going to the next level. So we said CNC, Transcend Management Services, would sort of capture what we want to do. Right? So you asked me how I got into this entrepreneur journey after corporate.
That's a shift after quite a long
big shift,
stint in the corporate world. Yeah. So what made that?
Yeah, so I think we were in our early 50s then, right? We were in our early 50s then. And we said, how long do we continue working for corporate, right? We've done our innings now, right? 28, 30 years. He had also done about 30 years. I had done about 28 years. So we said between the two of us, we got 60 years of experience, right? Enough of gray hair, right? Enough of experience, diverse experiences.
Right.
So we said, can we do something on our own?
Okay.
And so that is the first question. Can we do something on our own? Because giving up the comfort of a corporate job and all the perks and everything else is not easy.
Yes.
Right? But we said, look, enough of corporate life now. I think we've done our bit. Now, how can we give back all these learnings and experience to people who can benefit from it?
Sure.
So that's how the journey started. So I think we started 2010. My partner is based in Delhi. I'm based in Bangalore.
Was it a almost immediate shift, or was there a gap or a break in between?
Couple of months. Just for us to figure out what we want to do.
Okay.
And those days we had only Skype, so we used to have a call.
Oh, okay.
Every Monday evening we used to have a call on Skype and figure out kya karna hai, what has to be done, right?
All right.
And then we said, look, with our 60 years experience, we have the option of going back to corporates as consultants and sharing our gyan with them, right? But we said, who are the guys who can actually benefit? Because corporates have got senior leaders. They've got vice presidents, they've got senior vice presidents, they've got presidents.
Sure.
So where do they really need us, right? Where the guys who really need us could be the smaller enterprises.
Right.
So that's how the thinking got clarified that, look, let's focus on the small and medium enterprises, the SME sector.
They have taken the plunge already into business, but do not have probably the nuances of leadership and what it takes to run an organization successfully.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was a very important decision that we will focus on the SME sector. We will focus on family businesses. We will focus on startups. At that time also startups we were focusing on.
I see.
Anybody who's an entrepreneur who is struggling to understand the best of corporate practices which can be brought into an entrepreneur kind of a firm, right? For us it comes naturally, right?
Sure.
And that's how we started off. So it was again a gamble. But we were very clear about one thing.
But it paid off.
It paid off. But we were very clear about one thing, that look, this is a choice that we are making. There's no going back to corporate.
Oh, okay, great.
Because if you had that escape route, chances are you'll try it out for 1 or 2 years and say the money is no longer the same as corporate. Let's go back to corporate, right? So that was one important decision. That look, there's no going back.
So was there a ramp up that happened in terms of the revenues to hit your corporate level, or was it like
we never even tried to match the corporate level?
Okay.
So we said now this is give back time.
Okay.
So now this is give back time. We want to now give back our learnings and experiences. And we also realize that SMEs have got a limitation in terms of how much they can pay.
Okay.
Right? They can't pay the kind
So
of.
So you would cognizant of that. That would be. Okay.
We are willing to compromise on our earnings, but we said we should enjoy what we do. And I think that was the starting point. Enjoy what you do.
Yeah.
I saw that. I saw that on the markets.
Right? Do what you love.
Do what you love. So we realized that giving back our learnings and experiences is what we loved.
Okay.
Right? Along the way, we'll make money as well. But money was not the driving factor. Right? While we were helping others scale up their business, we were not looking at how to scale up our business. Okay. That was never a consideration. Even today, it's not a consideration. Right? Whatever happens, whatever comes. That's it. Okay. So that's how the journey started. And since my partner was in Delhi, I was in Bangalore. We said, okay, you handle clients in Delhi, I'll handle clients in Bangalore. And if one of my clients needs a finance support, you pitch in. If any of your clients need sales support, I'll pitch in. Okay. Right? Because we had complementary skill sets. Okay. Right? And that's how we started.
What were the services that you started with?
See, we were not clear. We were not clear initially how do we want to position ourselves. But we were very clear that we don't want to go as consultants.
Okay.
Because I had figured out somewhere along the way that a lot of the entrepreneurs, I started attending a few networking meetings in Thai and other places,
okay.
right?
All right.
I figured out that a lot of entrepreneurs have had not so pleasant experiences with consultants.
Okay.
Come and give a lot of gyan and say you should do this, you should do that, and leave it and go. They're not execution focused.
Not execution focused. There's no accountability that in the solutions or services that they bring. Yeah. Okay.
So at that stage, I got introduced to an organization called Mentor Square. Mentor Square was set up, I think, in 2011-12. Very soon after we also started our journey, and they started having this concept of having mentors for the entrepreneur segment, but specific mentors focusing on specific areas. Mentor for business, mentor for HR, mentor for manufacturing, that way. Right? So I got associated with them. And in the process, I worked with a couple of clients as a mentor.
Okay.
But then we realized mentoring is possibly what we are really doing. No, we are not just giving advice, but we're actually figuring out where the person is stuck and what they need to do to get to the next level. Right?
Okay.
So our prime thing was that we should help entrepreneurs scale up their business. Scale up their business and professionalize their way of working. Okay. Work in a structured, process-driven, professional way, the way corporates run. They could be smaller organizations, but they can still run in that way. Sure. But they were not aware of how that thing works. Okay. Right? That is where we brought in our corporate experiences, to a large extent. So we started off like that, and my first client was a manufacturing client. I never worked in manufacturing. The second client was into IT, ERP. The third one was into education, healthcare. So in the first year we figured out that look, we don't need to be industry specialists. We don't need to be industry specialists because we are not going there as an industry specialist. Whether you are in healthcare or education or IT or manufacturing, you want to grow your business. So we are business specialists. So as business mentors, we were business specialists and not functional specialists. Okay. And I think that is where by the end of the first year, we also figured out that business mentoring seems to be the best path forward. And that's how we need to position ourselves in the market. So that's how we started off. And that journey went on for a couple of years where we focused only on the SME sector, doing only business mentoring, and a very satisfying experience because, every case we were able to make a change in the way the entrepreneur thinks. We were able to challenge them. We were able to tell them, look, you are the problem, right? You better change your style, otherwise the problem is not with the team, problem is with you. Now, that is something we could do, which because of our seniority, they took us seriously.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So sometimes gray hair helps, Yeah, and they take us seriously because we are saying it after observing them for a couple of months. We're not right in the beginning. We observe them, how they manage their people, how they manage the teams, how they take decisions. And then we sort of figure out, look, the way you're going about hiring, the way you're going about firing, the way you're going about choosing people and, managing people, this is not going to result in your business to grow at all.
Right.
So if you want to grow the business, do things the way we think it has to be done.
Sure.
Then they started looking at us with respect. That, we are part of that. We are going to guide them on how to get there. Right? So it's not just about giving a promise, but actually, being part of the journey, So the business mentoring thing went off very well for the first 5 years. Variety of clients, variety of segments, and about 5 years down the road, we also realized that I realized that quite often the bottleneck are the leaders in the organization, right?
Is that a pattern that you see in the SME and the
very much, very much.
The leader or the founder,
co-founders,
they become the
bottleneck. Right?
What are the typical practices or leadership styles that actually stunts the growth and the scale story for them? What do you see in these from your experience? What do these founders do in the small and SME sector that stunts or that constricts the growth that they're looking for? From your observation,
I think the fundamental problem is the way they manage people.
People management.
So I always say the top 3 challenges I've seen in SMEs are people.
Okay.
Top 3 challenges, because you have the right person the wrong job or the wrong person the right job, right? You're not going to get the results, right? You don't manage them properly, you don't empower them properly, you don't trust them enough, you want to micromanage every small decision, you don't give them the empowerment to take decisions. And then you say, look, they're not doing a good job. The tendency is to blame the team when the business does not scale up. So people do the planning. What kind of targets are we aiming for this year? What kind of growth? Every entrepreneur wants 50% growth, 60% growth. So it doesn't happen. It's not so easy.
And right? Is that expectation across?
Yeah. So most people want that kind of rapid growth, but they don't realize the team below is not ready for that kind of growth. Given targets, they take it, they achieve 50% of it, 60% of it, right? And then the entrepreneur gets into the feeling that, look, the team is not shaping up. So I had this experience with a manufacturing firm, SME. That time they were about 20-25 crores. And I observed in the first 3 months that I was working with them that, they were hiring people, training people, losing people. Hiring, training, losing. Hiring, training, losing. So finally I asked him, are you a manufacturing company or are you a hiring company? All you seem to be doing is hiring and firing, right? Have you even tried to quantify what is the business impact of each time you hire somebody and then you train the person for 2 months and then the person leaves in 3 months, right? You got no productivity out of that person. You spend money, but you got nothing out of that person, right? Again, you're hiring.
This firing or was it the firing or was the employee was leaving on his own?
Both. So firing.
Is this typical of this particular industry?
See, employees leaving on their own, here again I must make a distinction there. I mean, now that I've been into this for the last 13 years, right? There are 2 types of entrepreneurs, right? One is where the employees don't leave at all. And one is where the employees don't stay at all.
Okay.
Right. Okay. And it has a lot to do with the culture of their organization. Okay. Right? I know a lot of family businesses where people have been working with that company for 10 years, 12 years, 15 years. They're all wedded to the entrepreneur. So there some of the entrepreneurs are extremely good at looking after their people, but they still struggle on growth, right? That people get very comfortable because they are very comfortable. So then there's not that extra drive and push to stretch themselves, try something different, try something innovative. That is one extreme. The other extreme is where every 3 months, 4 months, either people are leaving on their own because the culture sucks, or they are being found not right and they're being asked to go. Right? So both. So I wouldn't say it's a universal problem. I think there are both the extremes of.
Do you feel that there is something called as a healthy attrition rate, and it also, so there is a counter view that I hear from many organizations today that love for people, newer minds and newer ideas to be flowing, and that happens when we hire new people.
Yeah.
So, what do you think about organizations that pride themselves on having, single-digit attrition rates less than 5? Is that healthy? Does it work, or do you recommend that there be a fresh infusion of ideas and workforce, irrespective of the industry? What do you?
I think there should be a fresh infusion because as the company is going through different stages. So again, give you one example where this was a manufacturing company, right? They were largely dealing with the domestic market, and dealing with distributors and retailers and stuff like that. So they had people who were handling that part of it, right? Now, as they started looking at expanding, and as we were looking at a business plan and where are the opportunities and where they can expand, and today this year they're touching 100 crores. They were 20 crores a few years back. So they realized they had to get into exports, right? They realized they had to get into e-commerce. They realized they had to get into modern trade. No, and there was nobody in the organization who had that kind of skill set. Right? They also realized that they had to hire now people from the industry at much higher salaries than the existing team was at. So that was a stumbling block. That if you bring in these three people at 70%, 80% higher salaries than the people who are there, it's going to create a lot of turbulence. Right? So those are the areas where the entrepreneurs get stuck. Yeah, so I was talking about where the entrepreneurs get stuck because on their own they hesitate to take these decisions which they think might impact the rest of the team members, right? So in trying to protect the team members, actually hurting the organization, right? So this is where, as a business mentor, we come in, right? We said, look, if you want to scale up your business from 20 crores to 40 crores to 60 crores to 100 crores, will your current team take you there?
Okay, right.
Does the current team have even the capability to take you there, right? And then they realize no. They said then we need external talent, right? How are we going to attract external talent? How do we want people to come and join a small medium from from a larger kind of a role that they've had?
Sure.
So you got to pay the kind of salaries that they would expect. Now this is where we help to define the org structure. We said, look, if you want to scale up, the org structure of next year has to be very different from the org structure of this year. What kind of senior level roles are you bringing in, right? You need a general manager sales, or you need a vice president marketing, or all of that. But those are things they're not used to.
Oh, right. Okay.
So once we help define the structure, hierarchy. Okay. Also, quite often we help them to structure the business division wise, right? So there could be different business units within the business, but all treated as one. So we bring in that business unit concept, with each business unit becoming a P&L by itself. Again, a new concept for them. They look at P&L at the overall level.
Yeah? Right.
Whereas I said I want to see P&L at the business level.
Yeah, so the importance of P&L at the business level is that it's quite an eye-opener for many of the entrepreneurs themselves. They never looked at it that way.
Right.
And suddenly we realized that there are certain business units that are losing money. There are certain geographies that are losing money. There are certain product categories that are losing money. And I keep asking them, why the hell are you taking so much trouble to lose money? Right? Why take so much trouble to hire people, manage people, and then finally lose money?
Right.
So I've always spoken about when we're looking at growth, you must look at profitable revenue growth and not just revenue growth.
Right, profitable revenue.
Yeah. End of the day, if you don't make profit, how are you going to reinvest back in the business for growth?
Right.
How are you going to hire the right people? How are you going to spend on marketing and branding? How are you going to spend on all the other decisions that you need to take, investments that you need to make to grow the business, new office, technology, etc. Now, if you are squeezed on profit, then you're going to keep compromising on your decisions, right? And it's a negative cycle.
It's a vicious cycle.
It's a vicious cycle. You never get out of it.
Yeah.
Right. So this again has been an eye opener for many entrepreneurs that they start looking at some geographies they're actually losing money and they didn't even realize it for the last couple of years they're losing money there. So I give them an ultimatum.
Okay.
In the next 6 months, either we make those locations or profit categories profitable, or we get out of it.
Okay.
Now see, as a mentor, I can put my foot down because then I've observed the client for about 6 months, right?
Right.
And they know what I'm saying is right.
Correct.
Because it's backed with
And you bring that neutral perspective.
Yeah, because
right?
I'm a very data-oriented person, right? So it's all based on facts and figures, not whims and fancies.
Right.
Look, your data is showing this. Your finance person is saying this now. Now you take a call what you want to do.
Okay.
So I think that is, again, a change of mindset. That I think a lot of the mentoring is a mindset game.
Have you felt the resistance to this approach from any of your clients? Do they resist the kind of insights or the change requirements that come with, this growth stage? Has any of the business owners resisted the change that they need to make?
Not the business owners, some of the team members.
Team members, okay.
Business owners obviously have hired me because they know they're stuck.
Okay.
And they want to get unstuck. They want the experience, right? So they position us. Okay, CK sir is coming now. He's going to ask a lot of questions. Better be prepared. So sometimes the teams are not prepared for that kind of intensive interrogation, right? What about this? What about that?
So you'll always have that one person in the team
who will resist back.
Particularly
people who've been in the company for some time, they've been used to a particular way of working. They have a comfort level with the owner.
Right.
And then
the comfort level.
Then CK comes
I call
in
it the beanbag zone.
Yeah. CK comes in and disrupts, total disruption.
Right. Okay.
So I also use the word constructive disruption.
Okay.
Business mentoring is all about disruption.
Yes.
You have to disrupt the way of working.
Right.
In a constructive way. Okay, so look, now let's do things differently and do it in a planned and structured manner. So I think that business owners are very open. Because they know they need the help, right?
Right.
With some of the team members, I have to be very tough. That's where my corporate experience comes. I'm very cold.
Okay.
I've told people, some of the team members, look, if you've not come prepared for the meeting, don't waste your time, don't waste my time. You come back next week, prepare.
Okay.
The owners don't talk that way to the people because they're scared they'll lose them. So I tell the owner, are you okay if you lose this guy?
Oh, okay.
Because if he doesn't change, it's better to lose him.
Right.
So sometimes we force attrition.
So
we force attrition when we find that people are constantly resisting change.
Which is beneficial for the organization.
Right? So then even the owners say, okay, fine, let this guy go. If he goes, we'll manage it. Right? So those are the shifts that we keep on having during the journey of conversation.
Okay. So talking a little more about growth, you talked about growth, profitable growth. A couple of times you mentioned about it. Now, I have a couple of questions here.
Sure.
I wrote a book recently about growth, right? Growing and scaling an organization, especially the growth scripture. So in that, I talk about some of the nitty-gritties of what it takes to grow an organization, what it takes to scale an organization, far away from the current, some of the startup narratives that are there around growth, right? So from that perspective, I have a question in terms of the strategies for growth, right? What are the common pitfalls that you have seen in terms of the businesses especially given the current scenario of how businesses run? They go in for funding and external sources of funding. What is your insight that you can share with businesses on what they should do when they're growing an organization and not fall into the trap of looking for this fast paced growth, but create that sustainable growth story? What advice do you have? What are the pitfalls first of all, and what advice do you have to not fall into those kind of traps? Because today everybody is looking at that funding story and that funding success, right? That's the strong narrative that has been built by the media and the startup ecosystem. Not that all of them are bad, but many people fall into that funding trap and they lose the focus on what is the purpose with which they had started their organization. So what are these strategies for growth that you recommend, and what are those pitfalls or traps where you suggest or where you advise the businesses not to get into?
See, I think the two categories of entrepreneurs. One are the small and medium enterprises, the family businesses, which are more traditional in their approach, right? They are not depending on external funding. They're typically going for the bank funding, and they manage their cash flow and they manage their growth. A lot of my work has been in that area, right? So there it's a very steady scale up of growth. And even a couple of my clients, they have wanted to get an external investor. And I've asked them, are you sure?
Okay.
Are you really sure? This is a family business you have created over the last 20 years.
Right.
Are you really clear that you want somebody to bring in money and then tell you how you should run your business? They would tell you how to scale up, where to scale up.
Correct.
Eventually, you will become like a COO of that company. You will no longer be the owner of the company.
Right.
So I've cautioned them that, look,
Okay.
do you want steady, profitable growth or do you want rapid growth with loss of control? Take a choice. So again, I put that doubt in their mind. Take a choice. If
Okay.
you still want that, great.
Okay.
Right? But
And does your advice to them change based on their choice? It would, right?
yeah, it would. But I'm saying that many of them say that, look, okay, we'd much rather go the steady way,
Okay.
right? But let us look how we can increase our profit. Let us increase how we can top line and bottom line, so that we are growing at a rate where we as entrepreneurs feel happy, our employees feel happy, and our customers and everybody are happy, right? So a lot of the entrepreneurs fall into that category. So
Okay.
they're not super adventurous.
Okay.
They're not looking
Okay.
at rapid scale up, right?
Okay.
20 crores to 100 crores in 4 years, 5 years is okay with them.
Okay.
Right? But the more the startup ecosystem, which is more driven by valuations,
Yes.
right? There the entire focus is on rapid scale up.
Correct. Yes.
And that entire rapid scale up is driven by investor money, right? Not necessarily by a good business model.
Cash burns.
Yeah, so it's only cash burn because it's somebody else's money which is being burned.
Right.
I have never been in favor of that. I think, look, I think end of the day, as long as that funds keep coming, you keep growing.
Right.
You keep hiring people. Somewhere along the way, the investor is going to ask for bottom line.
True.
And when that bottom line does not happen, the investors start calling the shots.
Yes.
Cut down manpower, restructure. And so you're seeing the amount of layoffs that have been happening in the startup ecosystem.
Yes.
Just because of the greed to scale up rapidly and focus on valuations. I don't think that's a model that I would recommend. Some of the companies have done very well, right? But I think there are more people which are falling by the wayside than people who are succeeding.
True.
Right? And you're playing with the lives of employees. You're playing with the lives of employees. You're taking them into these startups with a big vision, assuming that the funds will keep coming. And when the funds dry up, then you know what happens. So,
correct.
I am more in favor of the steady, sustainable, profitable
growth.
focus, so that the organization is able to achieve its goals, achieve its visions, in line with what the entrepreneur needs.
Sure.
So the entrepreneur still remains the boss. In a funded firm, the entrepreneur is not the boss.
It's not the boss.
And I think to me that's a big difference. It's your firm. Why is somebody
It was
else?
your idea.
Why is somebody
Right.
else controlling how you should do, what you should do, where you should expand? Then you're like an employee, right? So I always advise entrepreneurs: you take that call. Do you want to be the owner or do you want to be?
What's been the percentage, out of curiosity, of people who have said no, we want to be the owner, we want to retain the country? Do most of them choose?
Most of them.
They choose to be the controllers.
I think it's only the new age startups that are driven by that urge for quick scale up and quick valuation.
Growth. Okay.
Frankly, I don't do much work in that area. I don't work in that domain as much. I used to work with startups in the initial stage, and we realized that that's not so exciting.
Right.
Not so
Okay.
exciting.
Okay.
As a mentor, I don't get the kick because some of the decisions that get forced are not which I think is also good for the business.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So I've been involved in a couple of startups. There was funding that came in. There were 2 co-founders. Then the funding dried up. Then there was a fallout between the co-founders. The firm just closed down.
Oh, okay.
Right. So I spent a year with that organization, but then the firm closed down because funding stopped.
And
And
they were not able to generate the.
they were not able to have a sustainable business
Sustainable,
model. See,
okay.
for me, sustainable business model is the key. Is the key. Sustainable business model,
Sustainable.
not just about revenue.
Right.
It's not a numbers game. Right?
Yes,
Okay.
sure.
So many of these startups actually focus on numbers and scale. So if you ask me, I think between rapid scale up and steady scale up, I am more in favor of. Maybe I'm slightly old fashioned, but I'm more in favor of a steady
scale up,
which is more long term and more sustainable and good for the owners, good for the employees, good for the organization.
You also mentioned, Cherian, about the people aspect. You said it's people and people. Now, the focus on people who form the core of an organization is not 4 walls,
Yeah.
right? It is the people who
Exactly.
make an organization. Given that premise, that foundation, that people are what make an organization successful or not, where do you see the technology and innovation and this AI, coming into the whole play of running an organization, automation and all that? Where do you see the people factor getting relegated to, or do you still feel with the AI coming in and the technology advances that are happening, people will still be the number one challenge, issue, focus area for entrepreneurs, especially in the SME segment? Where do you see the technology, innovation, AI and stuff like this having their say in this decision-making process?
Yes. To me, technology is always an enabler. It's not the replacement. It's the enabler. Basically, so if you want to improve your productivity, you find that you have a lot of people not being used productively, and not getting the kind of output that they want. Then using technology tools to improve that productivity makes a lot of sense, right? So you keep your organization lean, right? You have the right optimum manpower, and instead of having a lot of manpower, you have optimum manpower complemented by the use of AI and technology to support that, right? So that you can again get back to fact that the combination of people and technology has to deliver the end results that we want.
So the outcome has to still be the focus area. What I hear from you is that there will be technology, there will be technological advancements, automation, enablement, etc. But it is a sweet spot of where you bring in the technology, and still what is the cultural elements of how you manage people, that will always be a focus area.
True.
Whether it's 10 employees or 5 employees, you really need to have that performance, that culture.
Performance culture. So for example, a lot of the SME, they have these trackers for sales, for business, for marketing, and initially many of these itself are not being done properly. So even having a CRM, there are a lot of people who've got CRMs, they've got Salesforce, they don't use it. Right? They've invested in the technology, but the teams are not using it, or they're using it very sketchily. Right? So I say,
why is that? Is it because of lack of training or lack of buy-in?
Comfort.
Training
is generally done by the company that provides a CRM.
Sure.
But so I said, first get your basic discipline of the fact that data is important, analytics is important, business analytics is important, and those analytics will only come from these kind of way of working, right? Now, if that becomes a way of working, then transiting to a technology-enabled thing becomes much easier. Just investing in technology without the cultural part, I think the technology does not get used.
True.
So I think the two have to go hand in hand. The importance of people, I think, will always be key.
Yeah, right. How do you advise businesses on how they need to measure their success? What is the criteria? You said you're very data-driven. So what is the criteria for how you measure the success of the movement of an organization from a point, say a point A to point B?
I think one is to define the goals. That I'm a 20 crore company. In 20 years I've reached 20 crores. In the next 3 years I want to reach 60 crores. So that's the goal. Okay, business goal. I want to get from there. But how is that going to happen? Who is going to make it happen? What are the goals within that which are going to deliver that? Right? So I think a lot of thing comes from accountability. Creating accountability in terms of who in the team is going to take what responsibility and going to be accountable for what. That's where data comes in. Right? So you clearly define metrics for each person, for each role. How are you going to measure after sales service or sales or marketing that, okay, so much money has gone in, what are the kind of improvement in the numbers between one quarter and the next quarter, one quarter and the next quarter, that way.
Pure outcome oriented.
Outcome oriented, but driven by how you go about it.
Right.
So the style of doing it is very important. So I've had clients, where they get a lot of inquiries because they've been in the business for 20 years, right? But when I start asking them in terms of how many of your inquiries are actually converting into orders, initially they don't have the data. I said next week, please give me the data when I come.
Okay.
And they say 20% conversion.
Okay.
So my first question is, why are we losing 80%? And they never thought about it. Right? So sometimes very simple questions, but get them to think, oh, we never thought about this.
Right.
So
And some of them say that's the industry standard.
No, I said no. So now you look at your 80%, right? Look at all the places where you have submitted a proposal or a quotation, which you have lost. Right? And can you just let me know, analyze the reasons for the loss?
Okay.
Initially, they all say, oh, we lost because of the price. But when we force them to start analyzing the data and slicing and dicing it more and more, they realize that a lot of the order losses are because they have not covered the market well, they have not responded to the customer on time. Pricing is also a factor. Could be a factor. But I said, look, if your 20% conversion can go to 40% conversion, just imagine. Right? That's straight away a doubling of business.
Correct.
Because people are anyway reaching out to you. You're not doing justice to them.
Yes.
So sometimes even a very simple metrics like improve, what will it take to improve conversion ratio on 20 to 30 or 20 to 40% in the next 3 months or 6 months? Set a reasonable time frame.
Okay.
So I'm always very particular about setting reasonable time frames. Right?
Sure.
That change does not happen in a jiffy. It takes time. Right? So if you say that, okay, this is my goal, I want to improve my business conversion to this percentage, but I need to be able to measure it month on month. I need to be able to share it month on month. I need to understand the root causes for it, what is contributing to it, and what are the corrective action. So I always come up with a 4-quadrant kind of a document which I share with my, which sort of breaks down this whole performance thing into the nitty-gritties. Yeah, it's about where are we performing. So I think the area where most entrepreneurs miss out is that they are so busy with their day-to-day firefighting, with their day-to-day operations. Right? They don't invest that time in actually diving deep into the data. They're only worried about the end result. Okay, this month we are supposed to do 5 crores, we've done only 3 crores. What is happening? They put pressure on the team. Without analyzing why it's not happening, or what is working well, what is not working well. So every business review that I do, which I go once a week or once a fortnight to my clients, it's all about what is working well, what is not working well.
And if it's not working well, why
it's not working well. So a lot of this 4-quadrant I use another GSA format, goal, strategy, action, timelines, measures. But so any goal that is taken, business goal, the team has to define where do they think they are today. On a scale of 100, they are 30% or 40%. They themselves acknowledge that they are 30-40% today. In the next 6 months, where would you like to be? We would like to be at a 60 or 70%, right? What will it take for that to happen? So every goal is broken down into 2 or 3 strategies. Each strategy is broken down into 2 or 3 actions. Who is going to be responsible for that action? What is the timeline? How are you going to measure it?
So you clearly define the action plan, the responsibilities,
and the measures. So this is a typical way a corporate would work. This is not the way an entrepreneur works. So I always say that for an entrepreneur to be on a growth path, it's a marriage between an entrepreneurial way of working and a corporate way of working. How to get the best mix. So I think our role is to ensure that we continue the entrepreneurial way of thinking and risk-taking and all the other things that entrepreneurs are good for. But bring in all these reviews, structures, processes, policies, measures. Right? Everything has to be measured. I think if it's not measured, how do you know whether you're getting to your destination or not?
True.
So I think
that's the fundamental philosophy of OKRs as well. Measure what matters.
Measure what matters. First, define what matters.
Define what matters and then
measure it. What are those metrics for each function?
And what I've also seen is many times people struggle with the what matters also. So I think that's where a business mentor like you comes into the picture. You first help them identify what matters. And then define the measures and the pathway, the action plan, etc., and the responsibilities.
So one of the things I do, Deepa, is when I start with a new client, quite likely I don't know much about the client. It could be a new industry. And I do something called a business health scan. So it's like a typical health scan where we go and figure out, okay, everything is okay, but your BP is not okay, or your sugar is not okay, this is not okay. So this health scan is done with the entire leadership team, the core leadership team. The CEO, founder, and the other department. So again, they acknowledge that, look, on this particular parameter, it could be in terms of sales operations, it could be in terms of marketing and branding, it could be in terms of market coverage, it could be in terms of HR and people. So the business health scan has got 7 elements which I have designed. And each one they give a rating. Okay, we are
Okay.
at 40% on this, we are at 60% on
Okay,
this.
it's on a percentile scale.
Percentile scale as
Okay.
per them.
Okay, as per them.
I think that is the first step to
It's
change.
first, okay.
They acknowledging that, look, we are not where we need to be.
How realistic are they in this assessment?
So what I do is I get each one to send it to me individually.
Okay.
So it's not done collectively. I get the
Okay.
CEO, the COO, the departmental heads to send in on a scale of 10 or 100, where do they think they are
They
on this
stand.
particular question, right? And then I compile it all together and say, this is the range of scores that I'm getting, right? On some parameters, the CEO thinks we are 2 on 10, but the team leader thinks we are 7 on 10.
Oh, okay.
Why? I said, how can there be
That's
so
a
much
big-
of a I said, how can there be so much of a difference? So people are trying to defend that turf, saying that look, in our area things are going fine, right? Whereas the CEO thinks things are not going fine, which is why they
But at
went
the
for
end
it.
of the day, what CEO thinks is what matters, right?
Both,
In
both.
terms of,
So we
okay.
are able to
How-
thrash it out. So
Okay.
when I share that entire document, saying that look, 2, 3, 7, 8.
So usually who wins that battle? The CEO score or the team member
I win
score?
the battle. I said, look, you can't have such a diversity in the opinions.
Right.
There must be a justification. Let's agree on where do we collectively now as a team think we are. So I think a large portion of the success of business mentoring is we start involving the entire leadership team. It's not a one-man intervention.
Okay.
Right? So they also start learning, they also start growing, they get exposed to new ways of doing things.
Okay.
They get exposed to new templates, how
Okay.
to look at data, how to review their teams,
Okay.
right? And also, where they need support, where they need training. So I think it's the organization has to be built bottom up.
Right.
Numbers is the end result.
Correct.
Quite often the focus is on the numbers.
Numbers. True.
Whereas I start focus from the bottom.
Yes.
Where are we
The
today?
building blocks.
Yeah, where are we today? Where do we want to
Want
be?
to be.
And what is going to make us get there? What are the things we need to do differently? So I always say, new ways of doing all things.
Right.
We're doing things in a particular way that's working up to a point, but now if you want to go to the next level, that will not be enough. You have to do something different, something innovative, something new. And I extract most of the ideas from them because they are the experts in the industry, not me.
Right. So, Cherian, you've been in the industry for so long, corporate as well as your, business coaching and mentoring experience. What is that one thing that you would like to differentiate between mentoring, coaching, and consulting? And the reason I ask this is many times this is looked upon as business leaders as interchangeable or interoperable. I'm sure there's technically a difference between these three. If you can throw some light on that.
Sure. So I think
And what should business leaders do? In what scenario they should go in for mentoring, for coaching, and consulting?
So, for example, if there's a manufacturing company or a IT company, or then it's always good to have somebody who comes with that domain expertise. You could have an HR consultant, you could have an IT consultant, you could have a manufacturing consultant, because they have worked in that domain for 20, 30 years, so they're experts in that domain. So they are able to come and identify quickly what are the gaps and what are the corrective actions, right? And give that as a report to the thing. And look, these are the recommended changes that we do. But typically, consultants would be functional experts.
Okay.
A particular area of this thing. Coaching is focused mostly on the individual. Right. So, for instance, if I find that the COO is a bottleneck, and he or she needs to change their leadership style, right? Then a one-on-one coaching with that individual can help that person reflect what am I doing right, what am I not doing right, and the coach can guide them in terms of what are your goals, professional goals that you want to focus on, could be your personal goals that you want to focus on. You're not getting work-life balance, you're working 14 hours a day, right? You're stressed out.
Okay.
So coaching focuses on the individual.
Okay.
And typically a coach is not supposed to give answers, is not supposed to give solutions. Coach is supposed to ask questions.
Okay.
And get the other person to reflect
Okay.
on, okay, maybe I could try this one out differently. The coach is like just asking the questions to get the ideas out from the coachee.
Okay.
So coaching is not telling, coaching is not sharing your experiences.
Okay.
business mentoring, which I call business mentoring, is where you share your experiences.
Okay.
Right. So then all my 30 years of experience in sales, marketing, product management, project management, all comes in use. The moment I find that a client is getting stuck on a particular area on project management, right? Their customer experience is getting affected because the project management process is not okay.
Okay.
I'm able to straight away say, look, have you thought about trying it this way? Have you looked at this template? I can suggest a template for you. So a mentor is very giving.
Okay.
Giving based on their learnings and experience and what they think is the most appropriate.
Given that scenario.
Yeah. And a mentor typically would not be confined to one function.
Okay.
I'm looking at the whole organization.
Okay.
So it will cover HR.
I think that's where all the functional experience that you bring in sales, marketing, HR, that comes into play.
Because if an organization has to scale up and double up in the next 2 to 3 years, right? Every function has got to play its role.
Yeah.
Finance, HR,
Yes.
after sales service, customer experience, sales, marketing. Each function will have to step up.
Right.
And because a business mentor comes with a diverse experience, right, they're able to handle any function.
Okay.
So quite often when I go to a client, my sessions are from 10:30 in the morning till 6:30 in the evening,
Okay.
8 hours.
Okay.
With each team separately. A consultant may not do that. A coach may not do that. A business mentor, because he's looking at the business holistically.
Right.
And owners looking at the business mentor as the savior.
Right.
It's a bottom-up lifting of the business and the team.
Okay.
Fundamentally, these are the differences. So consulting is subject-specific. Coaching is more focused on the individual and getting the best out of the individual. And mentoring is more holistic.
Holistic approach.
There's also group coaching. For instance, if I want to get the leaders to reflect on what can we do differently next year.
Many leadership styles.
Yeah, so that's where the leadership facilitation comes in. So a lot of my leadership facilitation is in a way group coaching.
Okay.
There also I'm not giving the solutions, getting them to reflect.
Sure.
Right. So I've done a couple of sessions recently on vision to reality.
Vision to reality. Okay.
Right. Every organization got a fancy vision, but most of them don't achieve it. Right?
True.
Most of the leaders don't even know what the vision is.
Right.
So in this vision to reality session, it's like a group coaching where we get them to reflect in terms of if this is the vision of the founder, what is holding us back? What can we do differently?
Okay.
So there again, the answers are being drawn from them based on their experience. So that's group coaching. So coaching can be individual or it can be at a group.
Okay. I have some rapid fire questions for you on some non-mentoring and coaching related to get to know you better as a person. And of course, then I would love for you to share some parting thoughts with the audience.
Sure.
But before that, what's your favorite food?
Favorite food? I'm not much of a foodie.
Okay.
So
what do you eat with?
I eat as much as I need to survive. So I'm a very, very small eater.
Okay.
I like good food.
Okay.
But yeah.
Any particular cuisine you prefer over the others?
I'm quite happy with anything. I have Indian, Chinese, continental. So pretty okay with any kind of. Having lived in different geographies, I think food has been pretty universal to large extent.
Who's your favorite singer?
Favorite singer? I have so many of them.
First person who comes to your mind.
First person that comes to my mind. I think I like Eric Clapton.
Okay.
Yeah, I like
Pink
Floyd.
Right. Favorite song in that case?
Mostly, I grew up on the 70s and 80s music, the retro music. So
Right.
even today, when I listen to music, it's more that genre than the current kind of stuff.
So which is your favorite song from that?
Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon.
Dark Side of the Moon, okay.
Yeah, I like that. Because we listened to all that in college, right? So we grew up on that.
Right.
And even now, we love to listen to that kind of music. It's a retro rock kind of music that I typically prefer.
Right. Okay. What about your favorite destination? Holiday destination. If you were to choose one, which would you choose? It could be within India or even outside the country.
I quite like Coorg.
Cool.
Yeah, in fact, having done most of the foreign countries earlier in the corporate stint, I think the last 10 years, we've been focusing as a family entirely on Indian destinations.
Okay.
Really, there's so much to see here.
So much to see
So
in
much to
India.
see here
Yeah.
itself. So
Mm,
every 3 months we sort of take a break. Go
Okay.
somewhere, go to Coorg, go to Chikmagalur, go to we're going to Munnar in January.
Okay.
So
okay.
I think that's enough to explore here itself.
In this country,
And I think the
yes.
fascination for foreign locales has gone. I think that
True.
stage is over.
Yeah.
Right?
There's so much to explore in India.
And we're quite happy doing that.
Yeah. What's your favorite movie, if you have one? Which probably you watched more than once. Any such movie?
No, I watch only once.
Okay.
I don't think I've watched any movie more than
More than
once.
once? Okay. So any favorite movie which comes to your mind?
Trying to figure out favorite movie. I think I like, again, my taste is more the retro kind of movies.
Sure.
I think Godfather was one.
Godfather,
which
okay.
I think powerful acting,
class- yeah,
powerful
yeah.
acting, classic acting.
Yes.
And not the slam bam type of
Right.
I do watch some of the recent movies now.
Any favorite actor?
Actor. I think from an Indian actor perspective, I think I like Shah Rukh.
Shah Rukh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, he's-
Okay.
He's got a very natural style, very natural style. And,
What about Hollywood? Any favorites?
Hollywood, I would think George Clooney.
George Clooney. Okay.
These guys have got their own charm. They've got their own charm. They know
Some
how
of them
to-
are evergreen.
evergreen, yeah. So
What about if you were to describe your style in one word? What would that word be?
style in the sense, style at work is different.
As a personality.
Style at work is different. Style outside work.
As
is
a
different.
person.
As a person, I think very calm,
Calm.
very collected,
Okay.
hardly ever hassled.
Okay.
I think it has to do because of my 45 years of meditation now, right? So
Fantastic.
I started meditation during my engineering days, late 70s, and I do it even
That
today.
consistency, I think,
Yeah.
shows,
So
right?
every day for the last 45 years, I've not missed a single day.
Oh, wow.
Right. I think that meditation brings a lot of calm, and you're in control of yourself. You're in control of your emotions. You're in control of your mind.
Emotional intelligence is a very important thing these days in the corporate world and in the entrepreneurial world.
Very much.
So that's
So
your advice.
my WhatsApp status says that no, my mind is my best friend.
Best, and it can be the worst enemy as
Yeah,
well.
but I don't let that happen. No? So my mind is my best friend. I think once
Yeah.
you have that under your control,
Yes.
right, you don't let your mind control you. You control your mind.
The mind.
I think half your problems in life are taken care of. Right. So that's my approach.
Okay, few questions on some business related stuff. What does the word successful mean to you? And who's the first person that comes to your mind when you hear the word successful? What does success mean to you?
To me,
To you as a person?
I think it varied at different stages in my life. So I
Okay.
think when I was in corporate, for me, growing in my career,
Who's success?
was success. So I decided when I started my career, I said by the age of 35, I want to become a general manager. By the age of 40, I want to become a CEO. I had no clue how, but I decided that's my definition of success. So
Okay.
I focused a lot on growing up the corporate ladder, and that was success. Every elevation
yes.
was a success, right? Today, in the last 13 years as a mentor and a coach, right, my definition of success is when I make a difference to somebody else.
Fantastic.
So I think it's changed a lot. So
It's changed.
today, I look at every day as a gift.
Hmm.
Whose life or whose business can I make a difference to today?
Right.
So I give a lot of importance to today, right? So my definition of success is, have I made a difference to somebody today?
Okay.
I feel good.
Brilliant.
That's my definition of success, right?
Awesome. Thank you. What is the book that is your favorite or you have received that you really, really cherish? Any favorite book of yours?
Frankly, I've not been much of a reader, but a guy called Marshall Goldsmith, you heard of him?
Yes.
And, he had once come to Bangalore, so
Yes,
we
yes.
had a meeting with
I met him in Mumbai.
met him in Mumbai.
Yeah.
So I found him really amazing, the kind of personality he had, persona he had, and he's such an accomplished coach.
Yes.
And I think that day he was distributing that book also, What Got You Here Will Not Get You There.
Will not get you there. Yeah.
So that's one book which I've liked. In fact, using that book, I have done a number of sessions using that theme.
Okay.
for entrepreneur groups. Even recently at the Vision to Reality,
Mm-hmm.
the theme of that session was what got you here will not get you there.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because I think those are the principles that people have to realize that what got somebody to this level will not get into the next level. So I've
So
used
being
that book.
agile,
Yeah,
adaptable.
I've used that book theme,
Mm-hmm.
not necessarily the contents of the book, but the theme of the
Theme.
book, right? For a couple of webinars which I've done, for a couple of sessions which I've done, and I think that's a theme that resonates with a lot of people.
Sure.
Getting them to reflect.
Okay. If there were a topic that you were to speak on in a TED talk, which has nothing to do with other than what you do as your core, business, that is mentoring, consulting, coaching, what would that topic be?
Mindset.
Mindset.
For me,
So
it's,
important.
for me, everything revolves around mindset. Everything. Your success in business, your success as an individual, your success in relationships, your success in anywhere is all about the mindset and the kind of presence that you carry and
Right.
how people perceive you. Right? So I've done some talks on executive presence as well. Done sessions around that. Such an important factor,
Yes.
but often not understood, often not valued as much.
Well, true.
So I think it all starts with a secure mind.
Mm.
So to me, everything I do also at work is built around the foundation of changing mindset, correcting mindset. Right? I think that's important.
Sure. What is the best or the most worthwhile investment that you have ever made? And this investment could be in terms of money, time, your energy, or any other resource that you have. You felt that this is the best investment of my time, or my energy, or my money that I have made.
Meditation.
Meditation.
So having started off, like I said, 45 years ago, and seen the benefit of it while I was studying itself in my college days, I just sustained it through. Right? I started with a couple of my classmates. None of them are continuing it. Maybe possibly
okay.
one of them is doing it. But I've seen the benefit. I've experienced the benefit, and I think a lot of others have experienced the benefit of that. So I think it's not.
But I think
it's not a
consistency
financial,
is the key, right?
Consistency is the key. So I'm very disciplined. I'm very disciplined that way.
Yeah.
I think those are the things that actually make a difference: discipline, consistency, the right values, and those carry you through.
True.
So I think meditation has been like a foundation for me.
And here's a funny one. If you have one gigantic billboard that you can put up, say in Kuruvila, what would it say?
About me.
A message that you want to give out on the billboard.
Message on the billboard would be I would again think it will come back to mindset. It will come back to mindset in terms of how controlling your mind, and how controlling your mind actually is the answer to most of the problems in life. Right? So a lot of my work revolves around mindset. It's always revolved around mindset, and I think to large extent, I think
Entrepreneurship and business is mindset.
it's
as
mindset.
well.
Everything is mindset. Right? Life is mindset. Right? You can mess up your life, or you can enjoy your life depending on the state of your mind.
True, true.
So, in fact, whenever I'm doing coaching or whenever I'm doing mentoring, I make it a point to bring in this whole aspect of
Mindset.
meditation, meditation,
Meditation.
mindset,
Okay.
particularly in coaching.
Okay.
And I'm doing a one-on-one coaching.
Mm.
I find a lot of people are stressed out, trying to juggle family, relationships, work, bosses. And I encourage them to why don't you look at something like a meditation that will, can actually help you. So I encourage a lot of them to go with that, take that route. Not everybody's cut out for that. Not everybody can do it. But at least I get them to think that sooner or later it may be good for you if you get started.
Sure.
So that's influencing change in my own small way with individuals.
That's very nice.
Everybody you touch.
If there could be one key message that you would want to give to the audience, something that they will think about, you need them to mull over and probably even transform the way they think or act, what would that one powerful message that you want to give to the audience?
To entrepreneurs,
Yes.
Yeah, to entrepreneurs, I always say this one thing, that being an entrepreneur is a very lonely journey. Very, very lonely journey. And I always say, don't fight your battle alone. Never ever fight your battle alone, right? Whoever it is, need not be a mentor, need not be me, need not, but get somebody who's there as a sounding board, somebody who will challenge you, somebody who will take you and tell you straight in the face if you're doing something wrong. Right? So I think that whole message is about, I've seen the entrepreneurs who take help are the ones who succeed.
Okay.
So I always say asking for help is it's not a sign of weakness. Asking for help is a sign of strength. A sign of strength that, look, I know that I am struggling. I know I can't do this myself and I'm asking for help. A lot of people hesitate to ask for help. They think that no, asking for help means I'm basically saying that my company is not doing well. So I said no. The only way you can do differently is by really asking for help at the right time. Choose the right person. I mean, whoever the right person you think is. And secondly, I think a lot of entrepreneurs hesitate to invest in mentors, coaches, facilitators, because they see it as a cost. And they really don't know what result they're going to get.
Correct.
So they say, look, we'll hire somebody and we'll spend so much, we don't know whether it will happen or not. So there again, I think it's a mindset game, right? Talk to other entrepreneurs. There could be other entrepreneurs who've taken help and done well.
Right.
And in fact, today all my business comes that way. Somebody else is referring me. I mean, I don't go looking for them. Somebody else who experienced, work with me has referred me to somebody else, right?
Correct.
So their resistance is reduced because it's come as a recommendation from somebody they know well.
Yes.
Right? But I see a lot of entrepreneurs are part of various entrepreneur groups, networks, but they come, they listen, they go, right? And they continue struggling. So use networks wisely. I think there's a lot of you can get out of different networks, because each network will have a mix of different kinds of people,
different skills,
different
and
skill sets. If you find these are 3 or 4 people in this network who I really resonate with, and I think they can add a lot of value to me, spend more time with them. I think they're more than happy to spend time with you. So a lot of people are part of networks, but they don't use it effectively.
Yeah.
So I think choose the right networks, and networking is a skill again. Networking is a skill.
True.
And how do you not just show up, but how do you contribute, how do you add value to others?
Yes.
That's when you gain respect in that network.
Right.
At
It's not just about taking, it's giving as well.
In fact, if you ask me, my philosophy has always been about giving.
Giving, yeah.
When you give unconditionally, you get back as well. Right?
True.
So network
The
also
universe make notes of all these, the gives.
All the gives, because when you give, it comes back at some point of time. And so in a network also, I would say always, entrepreneurs may be part of 3 or 4 networks, but build relationships which are meaningful there, and actually start to gain experience and expertise from people in those networks.
Sure.
So it's all about taking help, asking for help if required, and using networks to your advantage. I think that would really be the
summary.
And like I said, in terms of scaling up, it's not an easy journey. Scaling up is not an easy journey. It needs somebody to handhold you on that journey.
Right.
And that handholding is something that they need to experience to see the benefit.
Okay. Thanks, Cherian. I'm just going to summarize that for our audience.
Sure.
So, seek help. Entrepreneurship is a lonely journey. Do not hesitate. Do not be shy about asking for help. Look for good networks where you can learn and grow. Networking is a very key skill for entrepreneurship. And also, do not look at business mentoring, coaching, and consulting and all these as costs, because the way you can derive value out of it, it could be 5x or 10x from what you even expected, right? We never know how it is going to pan out for you. So do not look at it as a cost, but rather look at it as an investment.
Yeah.
It's an investment, right, to grow and scale your business. And scaling is not an easy journey. It requires hand-holding. So find the right kind of mentors, coaches to help you in this journey, right? Handhold you through this journey. So that, I think, summarizes what.
So what I've also done, Deepa, is that because I know entrepreneurship is such a vast area. I think during the COVID time, I put together something like I think 30 odd videos in my YouTube channel, which is a separate.
We'll share the link in the
There's
description
a separate
below.
playlist
Yeah.
on entrepreneurship. So it covers different facets of entrepreneurship. It could
Right.
be HR, it could be marketing, it could be sales, it
Sure.
could be customer care.
Sure.
So that also is something that people could listen in and take in whatever they can absorb from that.
Absolutely.
That's again a way of sharing
Share
with
yeah,
people you don't come into contact with.
Yeah, yeah.
So using that media to do that.
Thanks for sharing those wonderful nuggets of insight, the wisdom, and the business, experience that you have had over 4 decades, Cherian. I think that is going to be a great learning. Lots of things to think about, think through, mull over. It's not something that can be amassed in just 1 hour. It's something that needs to be thought through. What is important for you as a business leader? What is it that resonates with you? And how do you take that first step towards growing and scaling your business?
Absolutely.
Right? That's a great, insight that you shared, and I hope our audience is going to listen in, think through those key points, those nuggets of wisdom, and then, of course, feel free to reach out if you want more insights and more help in growing and scaling your business. Cherian, thanks so much for
Thank you
being
so much.
with us on the show.
My
Really
pleasure.
appreciate
My pleasure.
your precious time and the great thoughts that you shared with all the audience.
Thank you.
And we hope to have you again on our show.
No, I think
as
the
follow
work
up.
that you're doing on Growth Caliber, I think, is fantastic. I think because the different kinds of people sharing is going to add so much of value to, a whole lot of people.
True, and in fact, how do you change that? We were talking about how the investor ecosystem has changed the startup, the growth story, right? So how do we bring back the focus on building sustainable? You said sustainable. How do you bring back the focus on growing and scaling organizations that are sustainable? That's our focus, and having experienced people enrich this learning experience is fantastic. Thank you so much, and we would love to have you again for follow-up sessions on specific focus areas based on the questions that our audience has had. We will also have follow-up sessions for them, learning sessions. So thank you so much. If any of the audience's viewers have any other questions, please do feel free to share it with us, and we will get back to you with the appropriate answer. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.